The rain's nice outside, isn't it? Okay, so I've only been in this hall once before, and it was for a concert by a guy named Krishna Das. Anyone know Krishna Das? It's like a singer, Grammy Award-winning singer. I was listening to a recording of that tour just last week, and he was giving answers to spiritual questions. People are asking this singer questions, and he was giving them spiritual answers, like a satsang type of thing. And then someone asked him a question about love, and he started like giving his answer. And as I was in the car with my friend, I wasn't agreeing with what he was saying, and my friend wasn't agreeing with what he was saying. And then there was this Ocker guy in the crowd, and he just pipes up and he's like, yeah, nah. That's so funny. And I just had the epiphany as I was sitting on the stairs there that, I've been in this hall before. It was for that concert. So I speak real good, but sometimes I make mistakes and say the wrong thing, So if I say the wrong thing today, feel free to go, yeah, nah. Steve's done a great job of acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land. Another person I'd like to throw in is Steve Bright. I'll give Steve a clap. He's not here today, if anyone knows who he is. I think Steve's Professor of Addiction at ECU, and he's done a lot of work for the APS and set things up so we can do things like this. And obviously Steve's peers like Jose and Toby, Steve put a lot of effort into the APS. The second thing I'd like to acknowledge is what an incredible time it is for Perth, right? For the psychedelic movement. I'm not sure if everyone's aware, but there is a clinical trial being undertaken right now where people in Perth hospitals are being dispensed psilocybin for treatment-resistant depression. Can we give that a clap? If someone was to say that 10 years ago, we'd probably look at them like they've got two heads, right? So there's a lot happening there. And the way I want to frame up this next 20 minutes or so is with an analogy. So I'm a small business operator, and if I knew what it took to be a small business operator, I probably wouldn't have done it. Anyone small business owners here? It's a bit of an effort, right? But every now and again, I catch up with other small business owners and we have a chat, and we realize how good we're doing. And then when I leave the chat, I forget how good I'm doing, and I just base everything off profit instead of all the other good stuff that comes with running a small business. And I call that a shared narrative. I can catch up with people who are on the same page. We remind ourselves of how well we're doing, and it's so important, right? To pump up each other's tires, to have a shared narrative. So when we go back into the homogeneity of life, the fire stays lit, Like psychedelics can be healing. I can say that here and I don't feel any resistance or pushback. But I might go to my family dinner table, or I might be on the phone with my brother. I could be somewhere, and it feels like it's not as available to say something like that. It feels harder. So the way I want to frame up today is it's like to celebrate that we can just have a shared narrative and build the fire around something that we're interested in, something we're curious about, and something that we believe in and can be beneficial. So I'm just going to take pause for a moment, because sometimes I speak really quickly and I just want to give people a chance to catch up. So I'm just going to take a breath in, and out. So this is a teachable moment right now, because I'm going to try to model to you what I actually want to convey or teach. And that's like body-sensitive practices. So it doesn't begin just with the dispensation of psychedelics. It begins just right here. Can you hear the tone of my voice? It's a little bit higher than the timbre of it's high. And I can tell, like usually I've got a deeper voice. So I've got enough awareness to be like, maybe I can self-regulate a bit and I can speak with more confidence and clarity. And as I say that, I can feel my abdomen kicking in. I'm going to take a big breath in. Now, with your eyes, your hawk eyes, just watch my upper body. Ready? I'm going to take a big breath in. This isn't staged or anything. All right, big breath in. Are my shoulders going up? A little bit, right? Good. That's your most basic marker of somatic distress. It's the most visual thing. Like if I get...
So your shoulders wouldn't normally go up when you do that?
Yeah, good question. So we're going to help you discern. If you watch my shoulders, these are called your AC joints. Anyone big fan of football? These are the shoulders, the AC joints. The footy players tend to hurt when they go for marks. So if you watch these SC joints, if I take a breath in at the moment, they're going up, right? My premise to you is that that's probably not a great idea if you're going to have a threshold or a high dose of a psychedelic or a plant medicine. Right? Just let that sink in, and I'll elaborate on why that's important. Ready? So checking that. These are your AC joints. Maybe try it on yourself. Put your 2 fingertips on the AC joints. You can take a breath in and just see if they go up or not. Good. Take a big breath in. Maybe have a look around the room without being too judgy and just seeing whose shoulders are going up. It's consent-based practice, right? Cool. And relaxing. Cool. So what is like a secure, healthy, normal body or way of breathing? All right? Anyone got some ideas? Right. So we asked that question to the best in the world, and there's some physiotherapists up in the Nordic states from like 50 years ago, and they're like, in the industry of somatic work, they're typically like the godfathers of this type of anatomy. And what they did was something really cool. They went back to babies. They went back to kids before they'd gone through life and said, when kids are born and you just leave them there in a rested state, what does their body do? And if you watch them, like a little baby's belly button will just go up and down like that. Right? If you stress them, like if the fear of being dropped or being startled or whatnot, the most primitive reflex in the human body will start to activate, which is this. It's called the brace. Yeah, it's retained in adulthood. It's also called the startle. And what's cool about that is you can see it. You can see if someone's startling. A lot of us in this room, just through life, we're constantly in a bit of a brace against our workplace or the duress of life, and lots of plates spinning, right? And we start to breathe with our upper chest because it's defensive, right? Brain doesn't differentiate from a tiger attacking than it does from a tricky conversation to something annoying on the phone. Same stress physiology, right? Is this news to anyone? Is this new or old hat? Okay, so when you look at the babies and they take a full inspiration, what happens is they breathe from their lower abdomen up into the middle of the chest. So a full yogic breath or a full healthy breath actually looks like this. It goes breath in, it's a diamond actually. It goes breath into belly, goes breath into your kidneys or adrenals here, and then this goes up. It's called your SC joints. A very special spot. Anyone into acupuncture here? This is K27. It's like one of the most special spots in traditional Chinese medicine. It's also, these joints, the only bony attachment for your whole arms to your body. So a lot of we'll call proprioception or joint sense from these joints to the brain. So if we want to be trauma informed, or if we want to be like somatically informed, if we're going to be doing a psychedelic experience, could it be useful for people to have secure breathing or abdominal breathing before ingesting a substance? Could it be? Probably, right? Imagine if you're having a conversation with your beloved or a partner or something like that. Would it be nice to actually be regulated in your body before going into some tricky conversations? Yeah. One of my favorite analogies is chickens. If you stress chickens, they start running around and squawking, right? They become more functional. Most people look at trauma, quote unquote, as dysfunction. 5, 10 years ago, even today, if I was to say to someone, oh, look, we're going to bring someone in the room who has trauma, air commas, the ideation would be someone who's dysfunctional, right? Who's in the corner rocking. 2/3 of trauma is actually high functional, right? And just to stir you up, because I just want to stir you up. I was chatting to a functional practitioner yesterday who does a lot of this work. He said to me, Simon, this will fire you up. He's like, I was speaking to a mother of a child in a regional school, and he's just been diagnosed with autism. And until that point, he couldn't access psychological care at the school because his grades were so high. Let that sink in, because it's very important for the psychedelic community. Because this child was highly functional, the perception was care wasn't necessary.
That's weird, because a lot of the time when trauma can be caused by parents putting a lot of pressure on you, which means it can be very highly functional.
Very eloquent. It's a beautiful point to walk away with this talk from. Like, do we live in a society that pretty much conditions us to become hyper-functional at the expense of connection? Connection. So this is where I've been for the past 10 years. Like 10 years ago, discovered the psychedelic world through plant medicines and decided, like, I don't want to waste your time with that story because I've only got half an hour with you. But the punchline, like, is sometimes with plant medicines, I believe, I don't know everything, but I feel as though one of the gifts of it is they're very connective. They're connective in nature, can be. So sometimes if we've been running in high function, right, if we ingest a psychedelic or have a plant medicine experience, what that can do is it can make us more connected, right? But what could that look like after the psychedelic? If we're going into a state of high connection, what might that do to function temporarily? It might decrease our function, right? But if I'm coming from a traditional model where I'm basing a person's health and regulation based on function, right? Oh, this person's had a psychedelic and now they're less functional. You've what? You have re-traumatized this person. Psychedelics are bad. And I've seen that countless times. So let's let that sink in. It's a paradigm, and sometimes they might be, be dysregulated. But often, how do you know? How would you ever know? And that's what I'm here to help you with today. How do you know whether someone's having a connective experience at the expense of function, or whether they actually have been, quote unquote, air commas, re-traumatized from a psychedelic journey? Because I know for a fact that the efficacy of, say, psilocybin, for instance, has been very well established. Right? We know that psilocybin is fantastic for treatment-resistant depression, right? So now the work, in my opinion, is more about protecting that work and holding it, And what I'm talking into at the moment, I think, has leverage and has traction, right? How do we know? And I've only got 2 things to offer you today. One is to do with physiology, and the second one is we'll do with you after the talk with your body. Yeah. Never shared it before, so if you can help me get it through it, that's great. Still got 15 minutes with you. So big breath in through your SC joints and exhale. Good. Breath into belly, up into your SC joints, relaxing shoulders on the exhale. Good. Something really cool that happens when people start to breathe into their tummies, we contract our jaws. It's defensive, from connecting with feeling here. So as a verbal cue, just relaxing your jaw and doing an active exhale through your mouth on the exhale. Good, so breath in. Relax jaw on the exhale. If you just remember that and stay with that, thread that into your life, when you're sitting for someone or during a psychedelic journey, that is fantastic. I'm going to show you something even better. But if you could just do that, that's fantastic.